Alrighty, what is going on YouTube? You've got your three favorite Clovers here, myself, Dom, and Huddie. This is another midweek recap, which Dom created a fabulous name for it called Going Into Friday. We're filming this on Thursday, gonna get released on Thursday, but we always like a good weekend break, so we're going into Friday. And again, this is gonna be a new segment we have where we just kind of recap some trades, we talk about what we're seeing in the overall market, and hopefully provide some value for you lovely people out there. So real quick to start us off, this week in the overall markets was quite a eventful week. Again, even if you trade small caps like we do, I think we all kind of kept our eye on what on earth the QQQ and the SPY were doing. First there was tariffs, then there was a pause, then pause was fake, and then there's actually a pause in the tariffs. So like just all over the place, right? If we just go into like a 15-minute chart here, this spike was on the fake news that there was going to be a pause on the tariffs, and then it came back down, realizing that there was fake. Oddly gapped up. I think people just were over the selling, but then it actually started going down more because I think tariffs on China were getting increased, and then still based, and then finally an actual pause on the tariffs came that was legit, and we were up 10% on the day. On the overall markets, which literally has only happened 3 other times in history. So pretty nuts. And obviously that was too much too soon. We're selling back off. People are still uncertain about how the tariffs play out because, again, it's not like they're gone. It's only a 90-day pause. So quite a lot of volatility in the markets, not only in the overall indexes, but brought us along to some trades in small cap, particularly if we want to start off with my week's trades, or a couple of them. NMAX was pretty volatile on the front side. We talked about this one early last week, but I have followed through with it this week. I actually have covered some short. You can see the little arrow there that I've alerted in the Clover room. Obviously, along with the alert, I got short at 60 on last Friday on the 4th. So if we go into it, I got short pretty much into this choppy mess as it was kind of putting in a lower high to the previous kind of first green day. So got short here, ended up getting like a 60 average, lower than I wanted, but again, I was also flying, so this was while I was on my phone on a plane, so a little bit risky, but then the fade to 45 was great. The spike here was on that fake news that the tariffs were getting paused, so I thought I was going to get my position squeezed right out of me over the highs, but thankfully it made a new lower high, and then kind of the rest has been history. It's just been holding it, staying patient, and now we've been selling off sub 40. And then today we went sub 30, so I started covering some. And hopefully by the end of the day, I'll be all covered for what will be a very bigger 6-figure gain. So been a while since I've had a trade that's a full 6 figures in and of itself. But I thought I wanted to mention that because that's obviously going to be the portion of my week. But then in terms of a trade that really bugged me, NaOV was a gap and crapper that worked, and I still lost money, which just really pisses me off. This was arguably one of the quicker stop outs I've ever dealt with. And it sucks because I don't really have a better way to approach it. For those who know, I like to trade gap and craps. It's like I just like to get short on what I think is not the beginning of backside, but a new lower low, some kind of mini breakdown. And unfortunately, NaOV did that, right below kind of the low 11s here. It consolidated. I got short, held, and then immediately squeezed me out 5 minutes later. So one of those ones where I don't think I could change how I trade it, right? Like I'm going to take this entry every single time, and more than times than not, gap and craps pay out pretty nicely for me. It just sucks that this move was the actual final move, and that if I got short any new lower breakdown anywhere in here, it offered 50% downside from 14, pretty more than that, from 16 to 7, 16 to 6, really. Pretty insane. So it sucks, but no, I can't time them all perfectly. I do get early on some of them at times, and so it is what it is. But that's pretty much the main 2 trades from the good, the great, and the ugly for me. But what about you, fellas? How are we feeling? What are we thinking? And what are we trading this week?
Okay, for me, it's like the theme has been kind of revenge of the low floats. So we've had in the market a ton of low float spikers dating back to like the beginning of April. But you just kind of detailed that NaOV was one, and VERO was another. So for me, for like I predominantly short these things that gap up super big. I'm always trying to be a little bit cautious with these with these low floats, knowing that they are, it's such thin supply that they're easily manipulated and or pushed higher. So for me, it's always about kind of waiting for a big spike on those, or risk kind of missing them or undersizing them, because they can be so dangerous. They're really hard to trade because they're so whipsaw you. They can go up, they can go back down, they can go right back up in like one candle. I always take under like a wide risk approach with these. Try to like avoid the games. I don't really want to watch every tick because I know that they're going to be very choppy and very hard to read the action, the level two, and the tape. But eventually, when the games stop getting played, like what's the agenda of all small cap, right? The agenda of all small cap is to make money, and normally through the process of doing an offering. And so you can see it with VERO. They did an offering yesterday. Did NaOV do an offering too?
Did they?
Oh
NaOV.
no, it was BJDX from last week, another low float that went on a kind of crazy run, and then by the end of the day, offering.
Oh wow, yeah.
And my whole goal is to like kind of be in the trade for as long as possible to eventually let them stop playing their games and taking liquidity from traders, and be there for what the end result is, which is generally either a fade or some type of offering. Not every time, some of these do hold up and go on multi-day runs, and those are good too. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of been my focus lately, and just kind of taking it trade by trade. And so far this week, there's been a lot of gappers, there's been a lot of action, and that's what I like. I like an active market.
Beautiful. Makes me think real quick, not to go on a tangent, but we've had streaks of gap and craps where there's no offerings, but this week has been a ton, right? We had SOUNE, or not SOUN, SUNE, right?
The difference soon.
Yeah, different soon. Just clobbered. 30 to 5. And then what was the other one?
FMTO did it.
Yeah. MNTO?
FM.
FMTO, that's right. FMTO. Also yesterday. Whoops, wait, oh, my chart's all messed up here. Get out of over here.
Oh, so gross.
Yeah, oh my God. Last one was 30 cents to 5 cents. This was $5 to 5 cents. So quite an obliteration in offerings this week, but I digress. Dom, talk to me. What are we seeing? What are we feeling?
Yeah, I wasn't on last week's video. The story of April so far, last week into this week for me, has really been how to hold on to profits. I have, 4 or 5 this month of my biggest trades of the whole year, but it seems like every time I run through the 1 or 2 day stretch where the plays are working, whether 1 or 2 in a row reversals or breakouts work, I spend a day or two just kind of chopping around, losing a half hour here, a half hour there. I talked about it in the webinar on Tuesday with the 4-leaf clovers. How important it is just to be consistent every day. And, Huddie was making fun of my watch list this morning when I was talking about we and how we're allowing unnecessary trades to cost us money. Us is just me, the group of me trading, all the versions of me.
Your brain and you, yeah.
Yeah, I always put it in that perspective. I don't know why, but it's like, I don't know. Like I'm a business of more than one Dominic. But and it's just I was adding up all these unnecessary trades, and it's like, there's 3K, 5K. It's like we're so early in the month, and it's like I should be holding on to so much more gains. And so the big lesson for me has just been about consistency. The market, especially these days, is so uncertain overall, and the plays are so like random. Like there's not a consistent flow of runners. It's kind of a one-off 600% runner here, a multi-day runner here, and there's not that flow where you always have something every single day. And so for you guys out there, for me, it's just a good reminder that, there is always opportunity, whether it's every 3 days, every 5 days, every week or two. I know how to trade. I know my systems and my setups. And if I just sit back and wait for those, that's where I'll be successful. And all the time in between, I don't need to force things. I need to just be patient and wait, because when one works with the style of trading that I do, which is risk reward based, whereas, today I had a 6-to-1 trade and a 10-to-1 trade. And that puts me so far ahead. That's like, sometimes you can feel like that cushion means you should be aggressive. But in the current market conditions, it's like, I just want to hold on to as much of that as possible. And so a lot of my week this week really has been today. That's pretty much all it is basically break even till today. So Monday through Wednesday, the goal was again, sit on my hands. A couple unnecessary losses for me is like WTF, AREB for 2 days when it didn't necessarily trigger. So WTF is just like convincing myself, because there's no plays out there, that this has to bounce back. And if it does, because of the range, that it will be $9, $10, $11. but it's really just in a liquid stock going sideways at its lows, doing nothing on a recent IPO. That doesn't deserve me to lose 700 on it once, then 900 on it again. It's completely, it's irresponsible. It's not a pattern. It's not part of my system. I did the same type of thing on AREB over the course of the week, where multiple attempts on it, multiple losses. The first time it didn't even trigger. I technically missed the trigger yesterday, but still went after it anyway, kind of out of FOMO, out of a frustration that I wasn't a part of it. I would have lost on it either way, but sometimes if I miss something and then it doesn't look great, I should just leave it alone, not feel like I need to get involved. But AREB was one of my bigger winners this week. This morning, pretty classic reversal after 2 red days there, where we get, obviously I have a huge run here. I don't, if you go back to the daily chart, I'm not sure where it started, but what is that? Yeah, like $1 to $20, 3 beautiful red days. And then this morning opens up green, sets a beautiful 5-minute high. And because of lower level liquidity, because of how volatile this stock is, it looked like shorts were tripping over themselves to get out of it. Then you really start to churn volume once it stops the halting and we get bigger move. I'm all out of that into $10. But just a really good example of, again, where I'm risking 40 cents a share, making $3 a share. Why do I need to be trading all this other nonsense? In the meantime, that doesn't really have that same type of potential. The other big one for me was JNVR today, something that I really started to keep an eye on yesterday, where, and something I said a lot in the LA bootcamp to people was, if the stock is not going down and everyone agrees it should go down, it's probably going to go up. And if the majority of people I think that are in this thing are on the short side and we're losing liquidity every day, and it's, you blink and this stock was at $5 and now it's consolidating in the high 20s and 30s. This is a fun pattern where we kind of have a reversal and a breakout where the stock fits reversal criteria. I enter in that style where I get the 5-minute high break this morning. So I enter as a reversal and kind of play it as a breakout where I'm open to multiple options. And if the slower it takes, I'll play it for a breakout. The faster it takes to start working, I'll treat it like a reversal. And it ended up happening quite quickly. We got a really nice squeeze. I made over $20 a share here, like 60 or 70% of my position in the course of an hour and a half. And again, a 10-1 winner, a really, really solid day today. Again, just reminding me, a good play is around the corner. Sit back and wait for it. Wait for something to come to you. It's not about trying to force good trades into your weekly stats. It's about waiting for them to come. And now, it's Thursday. We're going into Friday. Reminding myself the best trades of the week for me are probably over. Let's go back to sitting and waiting for the next good setup.
Beautiful. Crushed it today. Risk reward.
It was a nice one.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, that's pretty much it, folks. Straight to the point. Providing some value, some trades going into Friday and then the lovely weekend. As we say it, though, or as from the beginning of this video to the end, QQQ is now down 7%. So the volatility,
so wild.
Yeah, seems to continue. But again, even in that volatility, we are still able to find edges that we obviously share in the Clover room, whether it be offerings, like I said, or IPOs like NMAX, or even massive risk reward longs like Dom just crushed today on ARB and VN, whatever the other V ticker that I always forget. But anyways, guys, yeah, that is the video for today. Like and comment, or subscribe, and then comment down below maybe some trades you took, or if you align with any of the trades we took today. And then, as always, feel free to join the room, get in there, and get access to obviously the alerts that all the trades that we talked about today were live in the room. So, without further ado, thanks so much. Any last final words, Huddie and Dom? And we'll see them next week.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week. Keep an eye out for our weekly scan coming up over the weekend.
There we go. Beautiful. See you then. Bye.